The Bible is a fairy tale. God is not real, and religion is designed to control people. This is what I thought for most of my adult life. And then a personal tragedy hit me like a freight train, causing me to stop in my tracks and really evaluate my thinking about life, death, and the universe. You see, in 1996, my 6-month-old son suddenly and unexpectedly died. For me, the pain of losing my son was immeasurable grief, a feeling unlike any other I've ever experienced. And I can clearly remember thinking to myself, well, Kev, you can continue to believe what you've believed most of your life, that you're born, you live, and you die. But if you continue with this belief, it means that your son is now just a corpse. And I thought, maybe, just maybe, that there is some sort of afterlife. I mean, who knows? We can't know for sure, can we? And so I'll admit that to help me deal with this immeasurable pain, I chose to believe that there was a possibility that I would see my son again in the next life. So this was a leap of faith. And the second thing that happened to me was a few months later while camping in the bush, something I'd done many times, sitting around the campfire. And on this night, I looked up at the multitude of stars that can only be seen when you really get out in the wilderness. Like I said, I've done it many times, but on this night, I just had a powerful thought, like, wow, this is just amazing. I can't really believe that it's all just there by random chance. Something must have put it there. And so this was my second leap of faith, choosing to believe there must be a creator, whatever that creator might be. But I remember thinking, well, it must be God, I guess, but which God? And I'm going to have to study all the different religions to find the truth. Well, as it turned out, my marriage had ended over our son's death, and as a new single, I'd gotten back into the dating scene, and I met a lady who turned out to be a Christian, which immediately sparked my attention, and we ended up having many long conversations about faith, and she invited me to this singles Bible study group. And I'll be honest that my intention of going there was to just keep seeing her. And I told her as much, and she laughed and said, well, don't go for that reason. And I responded tongue in cheek saying, oh, the Lord works in mysterious ways, which is quite funny because at this stage I didn't really believe in the Lord. But one of the things I liked about the Bible study group was they were warm and friendly, and they seemed happy and content. And then most nights they would be reading some passages and everyone would get excited and go, oh, wow, it's just so amazing. And I would say, well, it doesn't do anything for me. And I half expected them to turn on me and say, like, well, how dare you? But they just calmly and lovingly said, hey, that's okay. Maybe one day it might mean something to you. And I thought, yeah, maybe. So what can I tell you? The more I got involved in it, the more things started to make sense. It wasn't an immediate thing. It was a slow journey of just being willing to keep taking one step at a time down this path. And then one day, I happened to read a Bible verse and I had this very first, oh, wow moment. And I thought, wow, if there's one good thing in the Bible, maybe there's more. So I just kept going down this path and I'm attending the Bible study and then I was going to church and look, as I progressed, the more I progressed, the case for Christ just made more and more sense. And until I reached the point on a Sunday night service, it was in November of 1999, and this guy at the church asked me, had I accepted Jesus as my Lord and Savior? And I said, well, I'm thinking more and more that it's the right thing to do, but I just don't feel that I'm good enough yet. I'm thinking I got to be a better person. And he laughed and said, you will never be good enough. Like, none of us are good enough. And so right there and then, I chose to give my life to Christ. Now, there are lots of stories I could tell you about in that 3-year period that contributed to my enlightenment, and I could tell you about them in a future video, but I'm just going to keep this a shorter one for tonight. And one of the things that really struck me once I accepted Jesus was how differently I saw things and how much better life was. You see, my life pre-Jesus varied from not believing he could even exist to thinking, well, maybe he could. And also there was times in my life I would meet born-again Christians and I saw them being happy and content. And I would think, I don't know about this Jesus thing, but there's something about these people. They've got something that looks good and I wouldn't mind having it. But it never got to the point where it was something that I felt it was really urgent for me in my life, which I can see now was a big mistake, because the reality is Jesus is the best thing that can ever happen to you, let alone that's here and now, let alone talking about eternity, right? Imagine, I think of the times where I had near-death experiences where I could have been dodgy and I survived things in life, and I'm thinking, man, if that had taken me out, like, wow, I don't want to think about that, how it would have panned out without Jesus and eternity. So also the changes that I've experienced are quite astounding, including the fact that when storms and turmoil come my way, I'm much more at peace about things. And when people do bad things against me, I'm generally more tolerant and forgiving than what I used to be. And since that time since 1990, I've been in some really dark places in my life, and I've found that my faith and spending time with the Lord have uplifted me and got me through those times, which I will talk about in future videos. So, yeah, look, I can definitely say my life with Jesus is immeasurably better than it was prior to that. And that's someone who has tried the sex, drugs, and rock and roll and all the typical earthly pleasures. Okay, so that's it for now. So thanks for watching. And if you got something out of it, please share and like and subscribe for more content like this. And please let me know in the comments if you have any questions or if you want anything clarified, or if you'd like me to cover anything else. So my intention in sharing this testimony was to inspire you to find Jesus if you have not already, or maybe your walk is not as strong in the Lord as you'd like it to be, and you want to strengthen your faith and step it up. Look, if you've ever felt a calling to know Jesus, I encourage you, I implore you to start that journey right now by clicking the link to the salvation prayer in the description. And also, if you've been struggling with your faith, take some time to connect with him and be open to his guidance. My goal here is to be publishing content in this channel that will help you, and in either case, look, this is Kev. Thank you for watching, and may the Lord bless you. And look, I don't know if you saw me before, but you might have even seen this testimony in some of my other stuff. But I had a growing channel that was starting to really take off, and quite suddenly, unexpectedly, without any warnings, this platform shut me down and deleted all my work. So I'm back on the game, folks. So, all right, bless you, and please consider Jesus. Thank you. Bye now.